Everyone, welcome back to Pommyinoz. I hope we're all doing really well. Hope you're doing better than me. I have had the world's worst migraine for the last couple of days. I am feeling under the weather, and that's why I'm having a lot of water today. So what we're going to do today is, first of all, without any further ado, let's thank the members of the Pommyinoz channel, the Pommynozers themselves. We've got Byron Issa, Timmy P, Alexander Larder, Pete Hayward, Lana Owens, Greg Whitaker, and Big Azza James. Big thank you to you. If you do want to be a member, please follow the link. It's in the description. And if you are on the PC, it'll be where the subscription button is. If you are new, please like, please subscribe, give it a share. It does mean absolutely the world to me. We've hit over 1,600 subs, which is absolutely crazy. I want to get to 2K. I want to try and catch Tez up. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like I have to catch Tez. It's like, I don't think I will catch him, but I just want to put a bit of pressure on him, you know, keep him honest. So if you do, that means the world to me. I do appreciate it. So today, this has been really heavily requested. This is probably, outside of the PMs of saying, why do you look like Sinead O'Connor? This is probably the second most message I get, which is, Pom, do your best 22. So, big Taylor Swift fan, great track as well. So I thought, here is Pommy's 22. So let's have a look for Richmond. So what I've done is I've based it on what I think now. It is liable to change. I do want you to throw in your 22 because this is like one of the great discussion points. But this was incredibly hard to do. So what I've done is there's a bit of Pommy flair here. I've picked a team that I kind of like. And then there's a few players in there that I'll have some caveats too, if you know what I mean. So let's get straight into it. And we'll start off with a controversial one here. Big Plowman, Lockie Plowman back pocket. I just think he's the man. I want Brodie Kemp there, but I do think that in this team, you'll see why there is the caveat is kind of flawed. But I do think that this is a problem position. Now, I think Plowman, in my honest opinion, is a victim of a shit-ass midfield with no pressure because the ball comes into there more times than people go into goals. So when you are playing that lockdown role on a particularly small, dangerous forward, it is a thankless task when the ball comes inside 50 more than people go through the check-in terminal at Tullamarine. So I'm willing to do this because there is some moments where Plowman has been superb. I look at the Papley game. I look at Cameron, Walters a couple of years ago. He locks them down and genuinely he does do a good job. I find his issues, particularly this year, are when he gets isolated on two people. No one in the world can do that. There's few that can. Weitering has had success doing it. It's because he's a freak. He's an absolute freak. So for now, I do have Plowman in that position. I would say he's one of the guys, though, that with good structure, with good intent around the ball, you are going to see what he's about. And I would say that there's a lot of people that will be at the football club rubbing their hands saying, I've got a chance here. Young would be one of them as well, thinking, you know what, I can come in here and they can be like Melbourne, Lever, May and Petty and all rotate through. So I'd say he's one of them guys that would have a question mark on his back. But for me at the moment, he's got enough credit in the bank for me to say I want to see what happens when there is good structure. So Plowman starts. I already know that's going to be a hell of a load of comments in there. Fullback, no-brainer this one. Liam Jones straight in. I think he is a phenomenal player. I think he's really improved over the last 2 years. His intercept marking ability, he impresses me. I think the two pillars down the back will be in everyone's side at the moment. And for me, I know there's questions on Marchbank. He has been put in that key position role. They have trained him. He is the modern day size now as well. A lot of the key position defenders are getting smaller because of their vertical leaps. He'd be another one as well, Marchbank, if he does get a sustained bit of fitness. We'll be looking at Plowman's position too. And for me, Marchbank's not in my 22 because I want to see some VFL. Screw pre-season. I want to see 3 or 4 games in the VFL. I feel it's counterproductive putting him in the first team round 1 and then getting injured round 2 because you want your back 6 stays the same. In good sides, it very rarely changes bar injury. So for me, moving forward, before Marchbank breaks into this team, he has to be fit and prove it. So John's no-brainer, walk-up star. In the other back pocket, I've gone Stocker. And you'll see a theme here. What I like, if I was coach, is I like teams that rotate. I like a lot of positions rotating, creating mismatches on the ball. That was really hard to say. And having a lot of options. I think options are good in any sport. And I think Stocker has that ability to play all across the non-key positions down the back. Also can throw him on the ball if you want. And also, like he showed in the VFL, quite handy if you want to place some pressure up in the forward half. So I think that that's where Carlton are going to go. Vossi comes from Port, who really are great exponents of rotating these positions. So Stocker starts for me. I think he's cemented that position. Half-back line, the half-back flank line, I think he's just mwah. I'm excited about seeing this. I've got Adam SAAD here. He's my injection of pace. He's my line breaker down the back. He's the guy that I'm looking at to get the ball in motion, break lines, put the opposition on the back foot, and take the game on by hand and foot. Up next to him, though, Jacob Weitering, best centre-half back in the comp. Best key defender in the comp for me. Might be biased because I'm a Carlton fan, but I froth everything he does. Absolute supreme talent. He is probably, when I did this, he was my top 3 names in the list. I just went bang, bang. And I think that's the same with Vossi. Next to him, I've got Nick Newman. I like Nick Newman. He has the option to really get forward. I like my halfback flanks to have that aggressive outlet. I think with Stocker and PLOWMAN behind these two as well, gives a bit of protection. When you see my midfield as well, you'll see a bit of protection there. I like to see them overlap and have a bit of defensive responsibility. So Nick Newman, he starts for me. His distribution, his ability to find the ball is really key. And his defensive work has really improved. Last year, we really saw it. He's a real stickler down the back. And he's one of my favourite players. Wingman then. So what I've gone with is I've gone with a bit of difference here. And I think that Carlton will probably look at Zach Williams being a wing, playing off the half-back flank, the same that he's a midfielder now. I think this is a good place to rotate him because the top teams rotate their wings on the ball and across half-back and half-forward. Williams fits that bill. I like him in space. I like him aggressive. I like him taking the game on. And I think Zach Williams, for me, he suits it because he doesn't have the engine to play 4 quarters on the wing. Doesn't have to, though, because if you rotate it like top teams do, he can play there intermittently in spurts. And there's a lot of players here who can slot in there. Moving forward, I see this role as an issue where we're probably going to have to find someone full-time. I don't think we've got the space at the moment this year to fix it full-time. Hopefully, O'Brien is one of them players that really does come on and take this position. And Tom Williamson, he's another person that's been earmarked for it. And Doc, hopefully, he gets himself right and he fights what he's going through at the moment. That's the priority first. But this could be a position for him as well. But round 1, I reckon Zach Williams will be there. Centreman, the main man, the man that I think is going to go into stratosphere of ability this year is Patrick Cripps. I think he's going to be the man. I think he's going to be the man this year. I think you're going to see a bit of Cripper getting back to Ripper Cripper. And I'm excited about this. And he's going to be my main man down there. I think that centre-man position would suit Cripps more. It's a little bit more of a floaty position for him. And I want to see him on the hands on the pill. And I want to see him mirror that Ollie Wines type game where he's the conduit of everything. And I think that suits Cripper because he's going to get his head over the ball. He's going to take in 2 men. And he's going to go, just give the ball off to these talented players around him. Next to him, Chair Dog. Chair Dog. We know he's a half-back flanker that he's now started his career at half-back flank because he is an on-baller. They built him into it. He mixes it up on wide and playing on the ball. I think that'll stay the same. I think he'll be out wide on the ball. Probably about 50-50 for me. And CERRA, I think, again, him and Williams in open space running into 50. These are the boys you want with the ball going inside 50. I think this midfield is schmick already. And you haven't even seen the followers. But this is schmick, man. Like, that is top 4. Said it. I've said it. I've gone early. Top 4 football. Half-forward line. Excited about this. Jackie Martin. I'm excited. I think Jackie Martin is going to be another player that he's going to get quality ball out in space with the blokes behind him. And I'm excited. I think Jack Martin is a real hit and miss player. And that's what I love about him because he's either going to give you 10 out of 10 or 4. But every team has a Jack Martin. And Jack Martins are them players that when they get a bit of consistency together, look at Tracker, he used to be that 10 out of 10 footballer, 4 out of 10. Once he gets this consistency, which I think will be this year, you've got that player that can change games. Jack Martin, he did it against Richmond. He nearly got us over the line. He's the kind of player that can change a game with very little touches, very little opportunity. He's the guy that I want. I want him fit. And I love it. I love his floating role. Another guy that can mix it up on the ball as well, give you more options in the corridor. Centre half forward, I've gone with Harry McKay. This could be Curnow as well. It'll depend how they feel. I've got a feeling, though, that just watching last year, that for me personally, I like Charlie Curnow in this position, but I just think that Harry McKay may start there because he's that outlet ball very early doors. You want to get that inside 50. So, like all 22s, these positions are negotiable. But Harry's there, no-brainer. He's the Coleman medalist, goal kicking extraordinaire. He'll be like this with the additions that they've had. He'll be excited. You can't see because of the thing. I rub my hands. Really excited about Harry. Think he's in for a big year. I reckon you're going to see a man that might back up his Coleman. On the other flank, I've gone with big Jesus. Barometer of pressure. I want some guy who's hungry. He's kind of my third tall in this one. There's no Mitch. Again, we'll get to that when we get to the interchange bench. But I think Jesus, for me, he's got that position. I like Jesus as well. Another guy that I can throw on the ball if you need a bit of intent. Maybe a ruck position for him because I tell you what, he brings the intent. Probably not for me as the reserve ruckman, but I do like his intent and endeavour around the ball. And he gives you that options, particularly when the game's getting away from you. Momentum's going against you. He is a guy that I would throw on the ball and say, just make it hard, Jesus. And he's a phenomenal player and he's one of my favourites. And I think it's hard to pick a 22 without him. In the pocket, I've got a feeling that Ed Curnow will be converted to a forward in the latter years. We saw it last year. I did that prediction last year and people thought I was crazy. I like it. We need tackles there. We can't really go out and buy it. So we need to look within. He's a tackle machine. He brings the pressure and he's shown that he's quite handy in front of the pegs. I think this is a position for him in a stopgap. And I like it because, again, options in the midfield, options around the ground. A lot of the halfback flankers nowadays as well are transition machines. Bob him on them. Make it a bit hard, make it uncomfortable. We know halfback flanks don't like it uncomfortable. Ed's there. As my other key forward, I've gone big Charlie Curnow. You can't pick a Carlton team if this guy's fit. This guy's deadly. And I think working out of the square as well with his energy creates space in behind him for Harry to roam into. I'm thinking about when you watch Port play, they have that real big shift. West Coast do it as well, where they kind of cross-sect and that intersect creates decision. We know running patterns in the AFL is so important because everyone plays a zonal system. You start crisscrossing, causes chaos with the key defenders. And I think Charlie and Harry, because they're so mobile and athletic, will cause devastation. Charlie, I think he will have a 40-goal year this year plus. And Matty OWIES, I think he's done enough. I like his forward craft. I really do. I think Honey and Durden will be breathing down the necks as well. And the more that they get opportunity and the closer they get and the regular they play, the better. Matty OWIES, though, I think he really showed something last year. And I'm excited about seeing what happens when he works in a real good midfield entry. My ruckman, I've gone with Pitt. I think PITTONET will start. I still think TDK is a bit wet behind the ears. And I've got a plan for TDK. So wait until you hear it before you jump in the comments and go crazy. But PITTONET, like we say, he was top 5 for a lot of the AFL stats in the ruckman up till the bye. Midfield really did scream, though, because the way that they set up very defensive around the ball and they conceded a lot of hit-outs. I think this year where we're hearing about a powerful brand being strung around the contest will suit PITTONET. And if he has them numbers, I guarantee you people will look at PITTONET again. So I think PITTONET, for me, has that role locked in. Followers then, Sammy Walsh, one of them. I think Sam Walsh is going to play a lot on the ball. Again, a man that can rotate in them wing positions. So it's really exciting. We now have a lot of rotations where before we were very one-dimensional. Now we're rotating. Adjective just made up on the spot. I really like Sam Walsh. Best in the league. So you got to say, best in the league. He is the best in the league. With him, the Hugh Dog. I'm excited about seeing this cat. I am excited about it. He is everything I love in a footballer. He's no nonsense. He's not prattling around. He ain't going to get on Insta because he doesn't have it. Love it. Hard worker, blue collar, just get in there, get the job done, son. Love it. Great British name as well, George. Superb fan. And I think he's going to create space. You look at the work he does with Sydney, particularly mid-late year, the space he creates with his bumps and his off-ball work is frightening. And when you've got CRIPPS, CERRA, Williams, Walsh working in them pockets of space, makes it easier to distribute that old pill, doesn't it? Big player, big barometer of pressure here. Him and Cripp are going to work. Forget about it. On me pine then, soft spot for Dow. I think Dow is going to be a player that you can really start to use as an impact player. Now, when people look at Dow, I don't see him as a 30-touch player. I see him as a 20-touch impact player. A guy that's going to get the ball, break lines, run in, throw it on the boot, get it inside 50, take defenders on, have a lot of running. And I think now this setup we've got is helping him out. And I think Dow is another player that I really think, this is make or break, I think, for Dow. And I think he makes it. I love Dow. Get around him, give him some love. On me pine, I've got Kemp as well. Kemp gives us options. Throw him in Plowman's position. You throw him across halfback like he showed you with that intent and endeavour. Want to have some more interception ability. I think it makes sense to have a bloke like this on the pine. BRODIE Kemp is on my pine. I'm a huge Kemp fan. Big Kemp fan. Zach Fisher up next. Again, bit of width, bit of pace, bit of raw pace as well. A guy that I'm really expecting a big year from. And I think, again, now, with all the players that we've got, with that addition of CERRA, it makes it a lot harder for midfielders to match up. Gives him that kind of free pass. So he's another player that I'm looking to really be attacking impetus. He's on my pine. I think he's a great little pine option. And modelling, you'll see that there's no Mitch McGovern. I think that the way to go is use TDK like Luke Jackson. He's very handy up forward. He takes marks, as does PITTONET. PITTONET's taken a lot of marks in the forward line. Have that heavy rotation. Keep them fresh. Both polar opposite ruckman as well. So it really affects ruckman rhythm. If you watch BRODIE Kemp and BRODIE Grundy and you watch Max Gawn, their strength is once they get into a rhythm, they're like a fast bowler. Once they get it all their own way, it's hard to stop. When you've got a highly athletic, more physical strength ruckman, these two combined, I think, cause issues. And it's what Melbourne have done really well, alleviating some of the top teams. So I like that, and I think it's something that Carlton can pursue. Keeps TDK fit, gets a both look at both of them. It is a high-risk, high-reward play, though, when you've only got one more ruckman on the books with some part-time pinch hitters. But I think it's the way to go. There's my 22 then. Let me know in the comments what you guys and girls think. As always, it's much appreciated. And this is a great discussion. There is no right or wrong answer until round one. I'd love to see what your teams are. I've tried to go with a quick team with some experience there. Let me see your teams. I think there's a plethora of players as well that I'm excited about seeing. Carroll or Brian, seeing if there's any development in him. Players of that ilk. I picked 25 this year. A lot of players I'm excited about seeing how they grow and develop. Let me see in your comments. And until next time.